Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady D.
We are the Dom Life. Welcome back, everyone.
Oh my goodness, we're on episode 3.
This is episode 3. We're excited to get into it. So on this episode, we are discussing subspace, subdrop, and aftercare.
Aftercare.
Which is probably one of the more important things in regarding to any kind of BDSM scene. I mean, not only are you planning what's going to happen and what you're going to do and how it all plays out, but when it's all done, the most important part of all of it kicks in, which is the aftercare.
And I don't think a lot of people think about it, especially people that are kind of new to it. And so it's a good episode to do now because we're all new to it right now.
Yes, it is. All right. So to start off with, we're going to just talk a little bit about subspace. So what is subspace? That is kind of the state of mind. Now, I'm going to try to explain it, but of course, Lady D is the one that has experienced it. So let me give just a kind of a little bit of a definition.
I'm going to let him do all the big terms, and then I'll talk about it.
Exactly. So subspace is kind of a mind space that you get into in your head, but it's where all your feel-good hormones start to kick in. You get your dopamines, your adrenaline, and your oxytocin will start producing in your body, and it apparently can be a really great feeling. So from your experience, how would you define subspace?
Okay, so for me, it is it is where I am constantly trying. It's the place that I'm trying to obtain anytime we're doing anything BDSM play. So it's the goal. It's the goal for me. It doesn't always happen, but it mostly, and sometimes it happens on different levels. So the way I'd explain it, it's a place where there is no beginning, no end, and no thoughts, just sensation. It's where I can enjoy and get lost into that sensation, and it turns off my brain. So my body's reacting to all of those, the dopamine and the adrenaline and all that stuff that's being released. My body is taking that and enjoying a ride.
Right. And so some of your telltale signs for when we're playing that I know that you are getting there is your laugh.
What?
Your laugh. And it's wild. Of all the scenes that I have witnessed,
Yep.
and it's, to me, it's a lot, but to somebody that's been doing it for many, many, many years is probably just a drop in the bucket to them. But I consider myself have witnessed several scenes. I have yet...
More than several, quite a few. You're saying several in the country way that we say several, which means in the last however many years, we've seen a lot.
True.
Okay, keep going.
You talking about my country accent? Is that what you're doing?
When you say several, like country people use several as in a lot. They're meaning quite a lot, but they're saying, well, there's several.
That's true.
Okay, keep going.
All right, so I have yet to witness anybody that laughs like you do in there, and to me, it's a huge turn on.
Yay, because I can't control it.
Right, but that's a turn on to me because I know you're getting in your head where you want to be, and I know a lot of people that have witnessed some of our scenes. Afterwards, they have come to us. We love her laugh. Oh, we can't believe her laugh.
They can hear it across the room. I've had people, like, they'll come into where we're at because they know it's me.
Yep. And I kind of know your limit as far as how long to leave you in subspace. before you kind of like totally lose control of your body. So if I've got you on a cross, then I know,
It's a favorite place to be.
yes, but I also know that there's a limited amount of time that you can remain on there before you're liable to start losing control of your legs.
Yes.
And you don't want to hang from across from your wrists. So once I start noticing you going into subspace, then I'm really focused and really watching you and seeing how your body reacts and the little twitches that it gives.
So if you've never seen a cross, I don't know if we explained this last time, but it is an X, basically.
It is an X, yes.
Where your wrists are attached in some way to the top. Usually there's chains or something that hang down, and then you have cuffs that attach. And then the bottom part of the cross, your ankles, also get attached spread. So that's when he says the cross, he means the St. Andrew's cross. And
Correct.
That's kind of what it looks like. There's usually some kind of padding in the middle. Not always. It could be just straight wood. It could, I don't even know. There's probably other material it's made out
I'm
of
sure
too.
there is.
But for ours, it's typically a wood one.
And we do have pictures of our St. Andrew's cross on our website in our photo gallery. But after leaving you in subspace for a little while, I'm always ready to take you down. And once you come off the cross for us, that is when aftercare starts in. But before you get, well, not really before you get, after subspace comes subdrop.
And it doesn't always. But yes, so subspace is a great place to be where your body is released all these endorphins. It's like a runner. A runner feels that. So when they're doing the marathons and stuff, they stop feeling the pain in their bodies because endorphins are being released.
Right.
Adrenaline is being released. Well, it's the same thing in this, which means we get to enjoy some heavier play.
Yes.
When I'm in subspace, meaning he can hit me a little bit harder and I get enjoyment instead of pain out of it. So then once you're riding that for a while, and then everything starts dissipating, and you feel like a drop. You feel a drop in your emotions. Physically, you drop sometimes. And Master Nick's got more information
Yes.
about it. But
So the next phase, and like you said, not everybody experiences subdrop to this extreme, but you do notice, you can feel the difference from subspace to subdrop by the adrenaline leaving, and you're coming down off of the high that you have from
The natural high.
So subdrop can be intense physically and emotionally after a BDSM scene, and it may take minutes, it could take hours, or it could take days to actually experience subdrop, if you experience it any at all.
And it's really strange when you say days, like everybody's going, what are you talking about? You got put up on a cross and your butt was beat and you enjoyed it and you had a good time and you were laughing. And then, the next day or the day after you're feeling something. Yes. Because of the type of release it is, it can be that far out.
Right. And, some of the things you may experience is physical pain, depression, extreme depression, irritability.
Who, me? Never.
No, yeah. I mean, you have.
And I lie. Sometimes.
I really haven't witnessed you. You may have been depressed, but it hasn't been anything. It was more of a mild. I don't think you've really been that depressed.
Well,
or
I
showed
was
that
talking about
depressed.
irritability. Who, me?
Well, that's okay. Got you. I forgot I'd said irritability. Okay, I was going to say, I really haven't seen you depressed. If it is, it was very mild. But yeah, so depression, it could go to extreme depression, irritability, anxiety, and or fatigue.
And it sounds like, why would you do this to yourself if you can have that outcome? Because that outcome is not all the time. I mean, it happens. It happens to every one of us. every submissive who gets in that mind, almost everyone has had some kind of a reaction at some point
Right.
while doing it.
Which is why aftercare is so important. And to get to understand aftercare, it's something I can't tell you. It's something you can't tell them.
Nope.
Because every person requires aftercare differently. And that is where we go back to episode 1 of the foundation of trust and communication. It takes that communication from that sub to explain what they are feeling, what made them feel that way, what can make them feel better. And it's taking those needs for the aftercare and building onto that to make the aftercare effective.
And over the course of our time of playing together, not just us, but playing together with others, one of the things that doing scenes with others, one of the things that I noticed is you've gotten very good about checking in, touching bases, moving them, because let's just go back to a scene long ago, far away in our very first couple of times at the club. And I had a great experience. He had me up on the cross. He's beating on me. We had an amazing time. Then he takes me off of the cross. He brings me over to the table and kind of sits me down. It's like a couch thing. And there I am. And then you say to me, okay, I have to clean up all this. I'm going to start cleaning.
Yes.
And that's what you did. You went to start cleaning, and I sat there and I started crying and feeling very upset because I was alone. You left me alone.
Yep. And again, that was all still in the learning ourselves.
Absolutely.
To know, I didn't even realize what I was doing was bothering you. And I think it was later that night and into the next day before fully understanding what even happened, what was going on.
Because it's so strange. The irritability part is kind of what I'm thinking of when I say that, because what ended up happening is once I was irritable after that because I didn't get that aftercare that we didn't even know I needed.
Right.
But I wasn't getting it.
Right.
So, and for us, we're in a relationship, so we get to talk about it. Yep. I get to tell you that I'm unhappy or I need this. But there are some sub-dom relationships where they're not in a marriage or
a live-in relationship.
Right. And then that person has to go home.
Right.
And deal with these emotions themselves. And sometimes that can be really rough. So communication, you said it, we'll continue saying it. Communication is the key to a successful BDSM relationship, dating relationship, marriage, all of it.
Yep. Everything builds on that communication. So some examples of aftercare, and again, these will vary from
chocolate
person to person. But for Lady D, first thing I do, as I'm taking her off the cross, I will put my chest and my whole body up against her backside.
He's so sexy.
And I will take one arm and wrap around your waist.
And sometimes one around my neck.
And sometimes one around your neck.
My shoulder neck, holding me so that I'm enclosed.
You're enclosed.
By your arms.
But while taking you off the cross, I have one hand around your waist to kind of stable you and make sure, for one, I'm giving you that close touch, that closed feeling that I'm there. Mm-hmm. And I'm also doing it to help stabilize you as I take you off, and I reach up with one hand, unrestrain you from one hand, and then I'll switch arms. I'll put the other arm around your waist, and I reach up with the other arm. And then I will usually prop myself up with one hand against the cross while still holding you in that position. And I may hold you for 30 seconds. I may hold you for 2 minutes.
So if you're brand new into this, right? when you see something like that, you're thinking, really? Like, was it that bad? No, it was that good.
Right. But we'll sit in that position for a little while until I feel that you're stable. You've got your legs under you. I will turn you around and then hug you.
Right. And I get to just sit there for as long as I need,
Yep.
which we've discussed how difficult that can be sometimes when you're in at the club in the larger dungeon. There's a little bit of time constraint that we're
Right.
dealing with because there's other people sometimes waiting to.
Right. So we're trying to get out of the way as quickly as possible. But also for people that visit the dungeon on a regular, they are also very understanding. They know to just sit and wait. They see that our scene is done. They know what we're doing, and therefore they will sit patiently. And the best thing to do if you're new to a dungeon, just FYI, that's going to be an episode, etiquette of dungeon etiquette.
I mean, it's because if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
And if somebody isn't there to tell you, then you
Right.
could be stepping on somebody else's scene or aftercare.
Yep.
And believe me, once you've had aftercare like this, you're going to want to, you'll understand more why it's so important.
Right. So after the good hug, I will walk you over either to the bed, to the little bed that they've got, makeshift bed. It's not a real bed, but it is something for you to lay down on, or a seat. I'll get you over there. Usually try to get you a towel or a blanket or something to kind of cover up.
Oh yeah, because we do all this.
Yeah, you're naked.
Sans clothing, no clothing on.
Clothing at all. But get you set down, get you wrapped up. I will usually kneel beside you or sit beside you, talk to you for a little bit until I feel that you're in a good mindset. Then I will, I'll go get you water.
Yes.
Let you sip on it.
A lot of times, we have other people around us,
and somebody
and
can
they'll
get
go
us water.
get us water.
Because at any time, if you're ever in a dungeon and somebody's standing there, feel free to reach up and say, "Hey, can you get me a towel? Can you get me a blanket? Can you get us a bottle of water? Any of that?"
Right.
And people are very nice and will help you out there. But then, sitting with you for a little bit, talking with you for a little bit, I still have my Dom box that is scattered across. I'm taking up a lot of real estate no matter where I go.
But let's go back to the fact that I'm the last person he plays with. 95% of the time, I am the last person he plays with for the night. So if there's other people there that want to feel what the electric wand is, or they want to be flogged, he is more than willing to teach them, explain it to them, show them. And then he's got some people that come pretty regularly that just want him to top them while at the club. All that happens before I ever get put on the cross.
Always, and that was a lesson learned one night as well. So now I do everything I can to make sure if anybody wants to experience it, they get their chance. But when I'm done with Lady D,
he's all mine, people. He's all
pretty
mine.
much done for the night because I know you're crashing.
I crash every time. I have such a good time during it, but immediately after, I really do
crash. You're ready to come home. You're ready for bed. So that's kind of our aftercare. And again, feel free to use what I just said as aftercare, but just keep in mind, it may not work.
Well, there's other people that do not need that much where they bounce up. It energizes them. There's somebody that I play with, a male that I do, and they've asked me to do him earlier in the evening, flog him, and use all of the beautiful implements that we'll be talking about next episode.
Yes.
On him early in the evening because he gets energized.
Yeah.
He doesn't drop. He
wants to go in earlier of the night, whereas we try to hold off for us towards the end of the night because we know once we're done and coming home.
Yes.
And then usually after you, for most nights I'm in there 2 to 3 hours
before me.
Before you.
Right.
With person after person. Now it's not as intense with them as it
Right,
is with
because
you.
we're just
But
bringing.
there is the regulars that I love playing with. I love playing with everybody, but there is the regulars that I have played with more than 3 or 4 times, and now I'm understanding them and understanding more of their needs. And
We use played with a lot or playing, and that is just a way to explain. It's just a quick way to say that we were engaged.
in some type of scene with them.
Right. So we use it all the time because we're playing with them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, swingers play with each other. Well, we're playing
with
when
our
it's the
implements
cross and
the BDSM play. But for some people, and again, it all depends on what your sub needs, and it's the communication that they need to give up. But some people may want sugar. Some want to cuddle.
always I want to cuddle.
From our experiences, it's hardly ever the same need 2 times in a row.
So one of the things we kind of skimmed over was during the when I'm in subspace.
Yeah, I was going to go back and hit on that here in a minute. But go ahead.
He talks about having to bring me back down.
Yes.
And that is true because I am literally in outer space. So it feels like I'm floating free from my body almost. And one of the ways that he brings me back down into my body, because I feel like I'm not in my body during this time, is biting me. It is one of the best feelings, and it does not hurt. I mean, there's a little ouch, but he'll leave bruises that way from biting me to bring me back into my body.
And that's one of the things that I've just learned. It wasn't that was one thing in specific you haven't said, but I think one night while we was at home,
Yes.
and we had a scene and we had the bed, and you was laying there naked and twitching, which just so kind of paint a picture of Lady D in subspace.
Do we want to?
Yes,
do we really
yes,
want
I do
to?
because I love the sight of it. So if you ever do get to experience her in subspace, here is kind of what she's going to look like. 1, she's going to be naked. 2, she'll either be sitting or laying, but her eyes will be rolled back in the back of her head. She will be giggling, very similar to the giggle she's giving right now.
No.
And her body will twitch. She'll have little muscle spasms, and she will hold her arms up and will flick her wrists, kind of getting some kind of sensory input.
It is. I'm popping my wrists.
You're
is what I'm
flicking
doing.
your wrists. And I do remember one night there was a fairly new security guy at Club Tempted while you was laying on the bed with your eyes rolled back, laughing.
Oh no.
And I guess he thought you was having a seizure.
Oh no.
Because he walked by, he looked in the window, his eyes got big, his mouth dropped open, he spun around, stuck his head in the door and said, "Is she okay?"
Oh no.
But luckily, we had our friends there with us that
You were going to say posse or something.
Yeah. Our group people was there. So luckily they was there, and they have experienced your subspace and they knew what was going on. And I quickly heard one of them say, "It's okay."
But he sat there because when we were done, or when I finally came back to myself, he was still checking by the window.
He was walking by.
He was making sure.
But they had told him she is okay. She's in subspace. This is BDSM. This is the kind of stuff that you can expect. And kind of give him a quick crash course on subspace and subdrop and aftercare. And I could hear her in the background. I was focused on you, but I could still hear her in the background of explaining, the aftercare, see how he's holding her and touching her. And also she was giving a quick
and
education
during
on it.
those times, I don't hear a lot of times. So because... Again, we're going to talk about etiquette in the future. One of the big things is I can't get there with the sounds of people and noises and coughs and all that stuff. So I put in headphones before we start. So it even gets louder because I don't have anything to be embarrassed about, right? So if I have my headphones out and I hear myself get loud, I'll want to get quiet again because I'll embarrass myself. But with the headphones in, I don't know how loud I'm being or not being.
Right.
And it's like,
No, it's great. Don't stop, because I love it, and everybody else that has ever witnessed it loves it too. But going back to the biting, so we was at home, and after a scene, we had laid in bed, and you was in your feel-good moment, and I wasn't quite done playing yet, which is what led me to, I started off like kissing on your neck and kissing on your body, and it was really putting you back in. And so it just crossed my mind, wonder what happened if I just bite her right here. And so that's what done it. And then that's when I knew that, hey, once you're in subspace for so long, I now have a get you back into your body kind of thing. So I keep that in my back pocket. And, if you get to convulsing or twitching or too much,
right, because there's a point
down.
where it is too much for me too, because your body can only take so much of that.
Yes.
I mean, because I'm popping and twisting my joints at the time in order to get additional sensation. And so there's definitely times when we need to do that.
So, and another example of subspace and what it can do for the listeners in case they ever come across it. So we had a little bit of a scene at home. We was at home during this time, and you kind of hit subspace, and you was laughing, and everything was going good.
Oh no.
You was laughing. You had the giggle.
I'm laughing so much in this episode because this is all very geared towards me.
Yes.
And it's very hard to listen to us speaking to all of you about some personal private stuff. But
But you went, it was like you flipped a switch. You went from laughing to crying.
yes, and then back to laughing.
And you cried for 30 seconds to a minute, and the switch flipped the other direction again, and then you was
it was
immediately
kind of
back to
there's
laughing.
a word that explains that. It's guffawing. So like I'm laughing, but at the same time it's like this, it's almost a manic thing. And I sobbed. I cried as if, bad things had happened, cried. And I sobbed and sobbed. And so to explain that I wouldn't have to explain that to any submissives that have played for a while, but for new people, that's an emotional release. So if there's a lot going on, it's so weird and so wonderful, because after that, it's almost like a cleansing. I think it had just been a while since I got into that high level of subspace.
Yes, it was.
And we just have so much going on in our professional and personal lives that once it happened, I cried, and then when I was done, it was like I was a new person. I felt like everything had been washed away by those tears, and it wasn't planned. It wasn't something we thought to do. It just happened.
And then you immediately got your glow back.
Yeah.
So
And then I
it was a good
laughed at him because I'm like, how do you go from laughing hysterically, having massive orgasms, enjoying your life, to sobbing on your shoulder? I don't know how you deal with me.
It's the roller coaster of emotions that just kind of got the best of you. Yep, the sub drop. So hopefully we was able to explain subspace, sub drop, and aftercare
from our perspective. Again, this is
yes.
always from our perspective. There are other people that are going to tell you their stories, and I think that's wonderful. But this is what happened in our world.
Yes. So, just to recap, subspace, you get the good feeling hormones, the chemicals flowing through your body. You kind of get an outer head experience, out of body experience.
Oh, absolutely.
And just like anything, anytime you get your adrenaline and those other chemicals flowing,
When it
you
drops.
will take some kind of a drop. It can be very mild. It can be somewhat moderate, or it could go to severe.
Guffawing.
And it is very important for the aftercare. It is very important for you as a sub to communicate with your dom.
And it's very important for you with your partner to talk about it and to figure out what works for you, because
Yes.
the first time may not work, the second, and it's different each time. Although
is.
he has a routine and that routine stabilizes me, it can be different.
There is sometimes that something different has to take place to get you fully taken care of.
The best thing about my husband, Master Nick, the best thing is his eyes are always on the sub that he's with or the person that he's topping. His focus is intense because he is watching for the smallest, minutest movement or expression, and that guides him. And so because he has that amount of focus, we're able to navigate a sub drop and aftercare. He navigates it beautifully.
Well, thank you. But if you don't watch, you don't learn. So the only way to learn is to pay attention.
Absolutely.
So now I got to ask, Lady D, are you ready to play?
Oh, we are talking impact play. All good things. All good things.
All good things with impact play. And we're going to mix things up a little bit. We're not just going to sit here and talk on our next episode.
Ooh, it's kind of scary.
We are going to get the implements out.
We're going to explain them.
We will explain them. We will talk about them. And we are going to use them.
Who is going to be the person that gets hit?
Oh, it's going to be you. It will be you. So stay tuned. Make sure to follow us so you will know when the next episode drops.
Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com, where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.